Elon Musk, a longtime advocate of Mars exploration, has publicly discussed ventures such as building a greenhouse on the Red Planet and, more ambitiously, establishing a Mars colony. However, the recent event, which includes Elon, might set us back by a few years in the space race, as SpaceX is planning to end its partnership with NASA, which accounts for 43 to 48% of SpaceX's revenue. Watch the video ahead to know more about the 3 main reasons why a giant SpaceX is going ahead with this. Hey guys, welcome to another exciting video from Futurism. In this video today, we take you through the 3 main reasons why SpaceX is ending partnerships with NASA, which accounts for almost 50% of their revenue. Let's begin. Jeff Bezos' aerospace company, Blue Origin, had partnered with usual suspects in the aerospace world, such as Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, and Draper, as well as Musk's SpaceX dynetix, a regular supplier to the Department of Defense. Normally, NASA chooses more than one company for this type of arrangement to cover its bases and avoid any of them not being able to deliver its technology on time. But in this case, it awarded the contract entirely to SpaceX in May 2020. Previously, NASA chose SpaceX over the mighty Boeing to carry a mission with 3 astronauts to the International Space Station. And last week, they used another rocket from the company to send 4 astronauts. What prompted NASA to select SpaceX are fundamentally the aspects that distinguish Elon Musk's companies in terms of leveraging economies of scale. NASA's $2.89 billion contract ensures SpaceX's ability to develop, test, and send team missions to the lunar surface. The second flight, which will be manned, is scheduled for 2024, but the contract's value could be multiplied by a very important factor if, as expected, NASA continues to place its trust in SpaceX to continue sending regular missions to the moon to supply a base there with a permanent facility. Blue Origin's project was the most conventional, with a 3-stage landing designed similar to NASA's approach, but almost no components were recovered. Dynetix delivered a more innovative and reusability-oriented proposal, but it was unambitious in proposing to take only a few astronauts to the moon in this sense. Winning the NASA contract is critical to SpaceX's ambitions to go to Mars, but it is also a change of scale for NASA itself, which could only aspire to launch 1 large rocket a year, costing $2 billion, which was then lost in the ocean. Now, it can think about carrying up to 10 astronauts. The dimension of the space program changes completely if $2 billion allowed it to launch 100 tons of material into space every 2 weeks. If you thought the rules governing industries were written in stone, you know there's always room for a new approach. Despite all of this, there are 2 major reasons that SpaceX is breaking up with NASA. The first is continuous lawsuits from Blue Origin. Elon Musk has criticized fellow billionaire and space cowboy Jeff Bezos for filing lawsuits against the former's aerospace company, SpaceX, earlier this month. Bezos' space firm Blue Origin sued NASA after losing a critical government contract to put astronauts on the moon to SpaceX. This had the effect of delaying SpaceX's own work on the project, and now this week Amazon has urged the Federal Communications Commission to dismiss newly submitted plans by SpaceX. In response to a story about the latter complaints that Musk tweeted, Starlink revealed that Bezos retired in order to pursue a full-time job filing lawsuits against SpaceX. The recent complaint from Amazon appears to be a letter of protest rather than a formal lawsuit. And technically, it's not that Amazon doesn't want SpaceX to launch more stylish satellites at all, but that the company should be clearer in its plans to do so. Starlink is currently powered by around 1,740 low Earth orbit satellites that serve an estimated 90,000 customers. Amazon's complaint is that SpaceX is asking the FCC to approve 2 completely different orbital configurations to be chosen later. SpaceX's novel approach to applying for 2 mutually exclusive configurations is at odds with both the Commission's rules and public policy, and we, corporate counsel, strongly urge Cooper Systems' Mariah Dodson Schumann works for Amazon's subsidiary Cooper Systems. According to Schumann, having to deal with 2 different satellite configurations doubles the technical effort faced by other operators, including Amazon's Kuiper system, which has yet to launch any satellites of its own. These parties will have to review interference and orbital debris concerns raised by 2 separate satellite configurations. Schumann believes that SpaceX should choose a plan and stick to it, and that approving 2 configurations sets a bad precedent by allowing future satellite operators to hedge their bets while creating more work for the entire industry. She concludes that the Commission should enforce its rules accordingly. Reason number 2. Dismiss SpaceX's amendment and invite SpaceX to resubmit its amendment after selling on a single configuration for its Gen 2 system. SpaceX hopes to launch the Starship's first orbital test flight in January, which may lead to a shift in focus away from NASA projects. Elon Musk announced on Wednesday that his company will attempt to launch its futuristic bullet-shaped Starship into orbit in January, but he is not optimistic about the first test flight's success. There are many risks associated with this first launch, so I would not say it is likely to be successful, but it will make significant progress. He stated this at a virtual meeting hosted by the National Academy of Sciences. Musk stated that he is confident that the first Starship launch atop a mega booster will successfully reach orbit sometime in 2022. After a dozen or so orbital test flights next year, SpaceX will begin launching valuable satellites and other payloads into orbit on Starships in 2023. He also stated that NASA has contracted with SpaceX to use Starships to deliver astronauts to the lunar surface as early as 2025. Musk intends to use the reusable ships to land people on Mars in the future. The gleaming stainless steel Starship and its first stage booster, known as the Super Heavy, will be the largest rocket ever to fly, towering 394 feet high, with liftoff thrust that Musk noted will be more than double that of NASA's Saturn V rockets that carried astronauts to the moon half a century ago. The Super Heavy has yet to fly, but a full-scale Starship model may have flown to an altitude of more than 6 miles before successfully landing back at the space station. According to Musk, the Starship and Super Heavy for the first orbital test flight will be completed by the end of November. The company hopes to complete the launch pad and tower testing by December. The Federal Aviation Administration's review should be completed by the end of the year, with a launch in January or February, at the most recent Musk to date. According to Musk, about 90% of the cost of developing a Starship has been covered by SpaceX, with NASA covering the rest through its lunar lander contract. Musk does not specify how much money has been spent so far. Musk intends to build multiple Starships in the near future, with a total of 1,000 needed to make life truly multiplanetary. His ultimate goal, he stated, is something natural or man-made will eventually bring about the end of civilization, a pandemic worse than that has ever been covered. Moving people to Mars and elsewhere as soon as possible, he noted, is essential for preserving the light of consciousness in the face of 19 constantly decreasing birth rates, nuclear Armageddon, or perhaps a direct hit by a killer comet. SpaceX has already completed NASA contracts. In the last 2 decades, they've grown from a small startup to the world's leading aerospace corporation, launching cargo and astronauts at a rate that rivals national space agencies. NASA currently entrusts its astronauts' lives to SpaceX in order to reach the International Space Station. It also relies on the company to supply the station and entrusts NASA's most valuable research missions to their rockets. If Starship is successful in returning humans to the lunar surface, it will be the ultimate validation of the public-private partnership paradigm. NASA will receive a lunar lander for a fraction of the cost of the Apollo-era lunar module, and SpaceX, a private company, will gain autonomous access to the lunar surface, which was previously the exclusive domain of one country. Both entities would make a quick sweep towards Mars, with many experts concerned about the increasing population. Elon Musk's idea of establishing a colony on Mars appears to be acceptable to many. However, many people are questioning the topic on ethical issues, such as whether we have the right to do so, and as a result, many more questions are being raised. What will happen in the future is extremely difficult to predict. Finally, with government funding and partnership with SpaceX, NASA is on the verge of making history, not only sending humans to the moon, but also establishing a camp this time. However, this could aid in the exploration of the possibilities of living in space, as well as create a whole new industry of mining for useful, rare resources found on the lunar surface. This sounds amazing, but it is also concerning given what we have done to our own planet. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please give it a like, share the video, and subscribe to our channel Futurism for more such exciting content and latest updates.